Hello, I'm Jack Phillips, and I'd like to discuss business alignment. So previously in the results mastery videos, you've looked at a value chain that shows you how the data flows. You see this value chain starts with input, goes all the way to ROI. Then you had individual videos about how do you measure success for reaction, learning, application, impact, and ROI. Now I'd like to discuss the rest of the story. And the rest of the story is, so what do I actually measure there at each of these levels? And you can see it in the discussion of the modules that they work from objectives. That is, we measure what we have in the objective. So we need SMART objectives. You saw that in some of the videos. SMART meaning very specific, measurable, achievable, results-based, and time-based, or relevant maybe and time-based. The point is they need to be very specific. And that's what we have to have for objectives so we can clearly see what to measure. Now the objectives come from different levels of needs assessment. So you've got 5 levels of needs assessments here that define everything we need, and then 1 level of input needs, that's who's coming. And it works with payoff needs, business needs, performance needs, learning needs, preference needs, as well as input. Now notice, it starts here. So our project starts here and goes through those levels of needs, defining the input, and then who's involved in our program or project. We design it, we develop it, we deliver it here, and now we measure success here. So let's think about, how do we get to this? You see, to get to the objectives, you need this. And so we start with why. We start with the end in mind. And that's not unusual. We often say start with the end in mind. But the end these days is impact, business impact. We want to start with that in mind. We need to connect to our business in some way. But sometimes we have to also ask the question, is this a problem worth solving or an opportunity worth pursuing? So that gets us to the payoff need. So let's look at this one first. Payoff. Is it worth it? We all probably have seen a project that in our mind wasn't worth it. What we're saying is, even if we make this thing work, it's probably not worth all this cost and effort. So mentally we go through that sometimes. Here we want to have a discussion at least and think about it. Maybe all the way to even forecasting ROI. That's even possible. You see, the 2 things we want to address. Is this a problem worth solving or an opportunity worth pursuing? We've seen that, in both categories. Let's think about that. A problem worth solving. Hey, if someone says, you know, we have the worst safety record of any organization in our industry. Ooh, that's pretty bad. That's a problem. Or maybe our sales are flat and our competition is moving 10% or more. That's bad. Or our customer satisfaction on a 10-point scale is 3.5. That's bad. See, in any of those are problems worth solving. You can just see it. Now, on the other side, there's sometimes not so obvious problems or situations. Like, we want to have a great place to work. We want all of our managers to be great leaders. We want to have a green organization. We want to be a technology leader. We want our brand to be well known. You see, all of those could start projects or be the impetus for a project. But yet we're not so clear. What is the business need here? What is the business measure? So we have to understand that. So we quickly move to this. See, these 2 work together, and ultimately we could forecast. Now, you read a study from FMI as part of your pre-work, or you may be planning to read that. You can see a forecasting was actually done in that study. See, this is important for us to think about forecasting ROI in advance. See, that takes the mystery out, is it a problem worth solving? Because if it's a positive ROI forecast and it's legitimate and credible, hey, this is a good thing to do maybe. So we'll be working on that some more in the classroom as well, or as you read the case study, you can see it clearly. But we want to understand is there a good payoff opportunity, which means it will drive an ROI positive objective. Business need, that's our sales, our productivity, output, quality, time, incidents, accidents, those things that are the problem are the opportunity. But now here's an important one. Performance need. What is it we're doing or not doing that's causing the problem or that represents an opportunity? You see, it could be that we have the worst safety record in our industry. And what is it we're doing or not doing? Well, obviously we're not focusing on quality. We're not following through with our safety procedures. We're not having safety meetings. We're not having safety audits. That may be what we're not doing. And so we have to do that now. And that becomes our solution. Or if our sales are not where they need to be, what is it we're doing? Or if our turnover is not where it needs to be, what is causing that? So what should our solution be? See, this leads to our solution. It could be we have turnover because our managers are not good leaders. They don't really inspire people to continue to work at the organization. So if that's the case, then our solution is to prepare those managers to work with employees, to give them the right support and recognition, encouragement, and so forth. They want to stay. So this leads to the solution. And then the learning need is, do we know how to make that performance come alive? What do we have to learn to do that? The learning need. Every solution will have a learning component. That's the learning, what we have to do to learn to make it work. And then there's a preference need. How should we perceive this project? You see, this project should be valuable to me as a participant, maybe. It should be convenient to me. It should be something that's going to help me be successful. Those are the kinds of things that we want to think about for preference, which leads to that reaction that you covered previously. And then input is who's there, who's coming, who should be there. That's the volume, who's coming, and the time, how long will they be there, and maybe the cost of it. So these clearly define the objectives. And then we can implement the program and evaluate the success. So this is the framework. It gives us alignment at the business need, particularly. This is what executives want to see, business alignment. They say, is it connected to the business? That's a critical thing. But we also align in these other levels as well. When we have the alignment, it makes life great from this point forward. You see, if I've got very clear objectives, and the designers and developers of this program or project understand clearly where we're going. It gives a roadmap to everyone, the people involved in our project, their manager maybe, everyone involved. You need to do this. Think about this for any project or program, regardless of what you're doing. Business alignment. Good to see you, and we'll see you in the classroom. Thank you.